All right guys, welcome back to the channel. Pretty exciting video this week. We're making a circular picture frame. If you watched a previous video where I made this like really crazy cow shadow box for a dispensary, I ended up using one of these frames that I previously made. So we're taking a step back in time and I want to show you an in-depth process of how to make a circular picture frame. It's actually not as hard as you would think. But first, we do have a couple things to take care of, so thank you for being here, and let's just jump right into it. We're gonna try that thing where like YouTubers just snap and it's clean. All right, so that didn't work, so we might just have to good old-fashioned clean. That is a lot better. Now I can actually work in here. Things just pile up, you know? Shadow box we were working on is cut out. I put some finish on it. Let's go down to the spray tent, grab that, come up here, assemble it. Then the one other thing I really need to do, okay, look over here real fast. I still have, well, I don't know if I showed you guys this. I have a whole bunch of stock right here. It's just sitting on my bandsaw because I still need to resaw it. So I'd love to do that in this video so we can kind of check out what we've got here. Some really cool grain patterns, some really cool wood that I got in. But yeah, it's obviously a little thick right now, so we've got to resaw it and get that back down to size. But first, let's glue that baby up. All right, so I've had this stack of exotic wood sitting here for quite some time now and kind of been procrastinating, but it's time to just take care of it. I've got some red heart, a huge piece of ebony. This thing is so heavy. It also is really expensive. This is this is Osage orange. This is kind of where I get a lot of my oranges and some yellows. That's a nice big chunk, so we're gonna get quite a bit of stock out of that. Can't remember what this is. Hopefully it's labeled. I think it's Bobinga. Straight grain brown, really nice. This is a piece of alder. This doesn't look like much right now, but wait till we resaw it. It's gonna really pop. And then this is crazy. Look at this. This is olive wood, which I've never had before. I've never messed around with it. So resawing this is going to be, well, probably quite exciting. I might put an edge, because this is a live edge piece, I might just rip a flat edge on this so we can resaw it a little easier. Plus I wouldn't be taking out a whole lot of good stuff. Pretty excited about this piece. Resawing for me is pretty straightforward. I think a lot of people will plane that rough side in between resaw passes, which honestly, I just don't do. That is so cool. Look how red that is. This piece is a little thin. Yeah, here I'm commenting about how red it is. Well, it's red heart, so that makes sense. But yeah, I take everything through my drum sander once it's resawed to get it down to thickness. So I don't worry so much about how rough the passes get or how maybe uneven the resawing is at a minuscule level. But one thing I do find is the big pieces, which you'll see in a second, like this piece of holly, which is the white wood you see, that stuff tends to wander pretty good when I get, you know, a piece that's almost 12 inches thick. I think that has to do with my blade probably being a little bit dull. And with all that thickness or that width, you just get, you know, your margin of error goes up. So once everything's resawed, I take it over to my drum sander. And here I'll typically take a few passes with 120 grit or even 80 grit, something that could just eliminate all the resaw marks, because you do get a little bit of a wave. And once I'm done that, then I drop it down to 220 and get like a nice glass finish. This piece, if you look at the sun coming up, it does take a while. Sweet, so here's what we ended up with. Everything's gone through the sander. It's the thickness. I've got a little odorless mineral spirits here on this paper towel so we can kind of see what this is going to look like with finish on it. But yeah, here's just like a little preview for you guys. Look at that. This is the, this is the yellow heart. So obviously, like, boom, extremely yellow. It'll orange over time as well. Just one piece of the red heart. You guys have seen that before. Really pretty stuff. Those are some really kind of like popping floral colors to me. Over here to the olive wood, I'm pretty excited about this stuff. I haven't really used this before, but it's got some really kind of cool curling and stuff, and obviously a lot of figure. Pretty excited about that. That's a little bit of an oilier wood. Like, got more oil in it, I feel, so it's a little bit trickier to sand, but I'm really happy with the end result. Check it out. That is so cool, that curling. And then this guy should have a whole pile of curling, so it's just, might be running out of spirits on my towel here, but that alder, you'll see I use this for a lot of sunsets and stuff. Maybe one of my favorites. Look at that. I mean, geez, look at that curl in that. It's so cool. Nice figured piece there. The Babinga, hold on, let me get some more spirits. The Babinga, pretty standard here. Some really cool reds and browns. It's gonna look good with some maybe mahogany or some walnut next to it. And obviously the ebony here, once you get some finish on it, it's just black. You know, you've got a little bit of some light spots here, but that works well for roofing and things like that. Oh yeah, over here, just the holly. So, oh shoot, with some, yeah, that should just be stark white for the most part. I got some big sheets of that. I didn't do the best job cutting it, resawing it, but we were left with quite a bit of stock. So there's our haul. Let's put it away. All right, so let's check out what we've got up here. The old wood storage. So I'm basically, I don't know exactly how much I need yet, but I just want to see what my options are up here. Let's see. Is that did I have some maple I just didn't realize? Let's pull this piece down and see what that is. Oh boy, is this a long one. Yes. Oh, today's my lucky day. I literally just forget stuff is up here. I get a gift like this. Yeah. Yeah, it's perfect. It's perfect. All right. Yeah. All right, this is a nice long one. I have another piece that would be really cool in the basement, so maybe I'll make two. Maybe I'll make this one into a I don't know. No, I might make two. Just because I'm gonna have the stuff out anyway, right? All right, there's one other, check this out. There's one other piece that I've got. All right, over here. So this stuff I've had for a while. Like more wood storage, like that's what I really need. Flame, this is a huge piece of flame birch that I've had. Oh, this stuff is so cool. I think if we're gonna get crazy, we might as well. Oh, there's teak under here also. No, we're using this. This is sick, look at this thing. We'll get a better shot of it upstairs, but yep, I need an excuse to use this. This week, we're doing something we've never done before, and it's gonna be really cool, hopefully. We're making a circular picture frame. In my case, it's gonna be a shadow box frame, so it's essentially gonna be a picture frame, but double thick. If you follow my stuff, you know that my pieces have a piece of glass with a gap and then the piece of art. So if you wanted to do this as a regular picture frame, I'm gonna show you how to do that. Just note that mine are gonna be double thickness because of just kind of the way that shadow boxes are. But you can follow the same exact series of steps to achieve just a single layer of picture frame. I've got some maple and some flame birch picked out for this. Let's just jump right into it. The first step is to just jump online, and I found this website called blocklayer.com, and I'm gonna link that in the description. But this is how we're gonna figure out what segments we need. So when you make a circular frame, from what I've seen, you put segments of these trapezoid looking things all together to create like a big blocky circle, and then you're gonna cut your circle out from that, which you'll see. So if you don't totally understand that, just bear with me. Outside diameter, since I'm making a picture frame, I don't really know, but I do know my inside diameter needs to be 16. So 16 plus my ring thickness is like 19 and some odds, let's just say 21. So 21 is gonna be our outside diameter. This is a really handy calculator. And then segments, let's go 8 because we already know if it was 4, that would be a square, and that's 45 degrees. Or I'm sorry, 90 degrees. So let's double that. So we're gonna keep that at 8, no big deal. Margin for inner, let's say 1/4 inch, that's just kind of our fudge factor. We'll go 1/4 inch for both outside and inside. Open gap, none, we're gonna glue this right up. I think we're good, so calculate. So if we come down here, avoid some of the adds. Basically, if we shoot down to here, there we go. So it's gonna tell us roughly our width of each piece. So 3 and 15, 30 seconds. So we'll call it like 3.5. Okay, that's probably gonna be the easiest way to do that because you're gonna see how we cut this out. So don't get too, we're not gonna get too precise. And then the length of our pieces are 8 and 29 and 30 seconds. So let's go 9. So we're just gonna round everything up a smidge. That's just gonna make our lives a lot easier, and we're gonna have to cut quite a bit of this material off. So I'm just not gonna worry about that. Again, we've got our 1/4 inch fudge factor, so it should work out fine. So that should give us the stock for a circle that's 2 3/8 thickness, a 16-inch inside diameter, and our outside diameter is kind of whatever. Sweet, let's head to the table saw. Let's cut this to thickness. Let's head to the miter saw. We'll cut our angles and get our segments. So the flame birch is already 2 inches thick. This is not, this is just 3/4. So what I need to do next is I'm gonna laminate a couple layers here. I'm just gonna glue these two together and glue these two together. If I'm smart enough, I could probably sandwich it all and just clamp the bejesus out of this. Once that's dry, we'll go over to the miter saw. All right, so I've got the 8 pieces here. Well, you're seeing this for the first time, so let's just put it together and see what we're looking at here. Cool. Let me grab a tape and just make sure we're close to like what our final dimensions are gonna be. Right, so actually let's measure from maybe this corner to that inside corner. Right, so that should be right around wow, it's right on 16. Holy cow. So, well, the calculator works. So for gluing this thing up, I think I'm gonna use a ratchet strap. Let me show you what I got here. This is what I used to glue up all my frames with, but they're basically just big ratchet straps with no hooks on them. This was before I got spring clamps, but like I'll have to take these things off. I think this should work. Yeah. I'm assuming this is just gonna get some glue on it. I feel like this glues up easier than a square frame. All right, that's a lot of pressure. So the next piece of this puzzle is a little bit trickier. Now here I'm left with an octagon with a hollow center. So I need to refine my center in order to mark the circle for my finished frame. To do this, I ended up cutting out a piece of cardboard in the exact same shape as our two octagons here, and then used a little geometry to find the center of that octagon made out of cardboard. I then took a string line and attached it to the center, which I just found, and then measured out my inside and outside dimensions, and then just walked that string line around the octagon with my pencil, and I was able to mark my inside, which is right around 16 inches, and my outside, which is 2 3/8 more than that. Now you can visualize that circular final product, and the next step is to cut it out. Sweet, so now we have our circle mark. If I was just gonna make a regular picture frame, I would take this over to the bandsaw, over to the scroll saw possibly, or even if I didn't have those two items, I'd probably use a jigsaw to cut out this circle on the inside, cut out that circle on the outside, and I'd be left with a nice circular stock for our frame. Then, since it's just a regular picture frame, all we need is a rabbet for the glass. I'd come in with something like this, a 1/2-inch routering bit, for example, and I'd buzz out that rabbet, and then I'd just probably sand it and be done. But in my case, for my shadow box, I need kind of a double frame. So I need a rabbet for the glass, and I need a rabbet for the backer board. So I'm gonna choose to cut it out on the CNC machine. That's gonna give me a nice perfect circle. It's also going to be able to hog out enough material so I have those two rabbets so I can have my 2 layers of material. I know this isn't available for everybody, but again, if I had a different way to do it, I probably would, but this is the only way I can come up with in my head. So let's head over to the CNC machine. Our first pass is going to be cutting out the circle, or cutting as deep as we can. I'll then have to flush trim it with a template bit. And our second operation is going to be using a bigger bit to hog out those rabbits. Basically, kind of the same idea here, just one's run by a machine and one is run by you. Okay. Oh. Time for a little cleanup. So not bad. Have some shavings. At first glance, it looks promising. Look at the... All right, let me clean this up and we'll pop it out and see what it looks like. All right, so here's what I ended up with. This is much better than the maple that I did. But as you can see, I've got my circle, which I'm happy with, but the bits I used didn't quite make it all the way through. So I'm just gonna have to go over to the scroll saw, I think, and cut this inside piece out. So let's do that, and then I might actually just flush trim it while I'm at it and throw a chamfer on the front and then get to sanding. And that should kind of, I don't know, that should make our circle, should make our circular frame. I don't know, let's cut it out. All right, so check it out. Here's my frame. What you just saw was me just putting this chamfer on the edge there. And what you didn't see was me putting some finish on this. I just hit it with a few coats of spray lacquer, sanding in between coats, so it's got a nice durable finish. I like the way it came out. I really love the quilting and the figure in this wood, so I'm really pumped about that. Now, next question is, what goes in it? So I came up with this. Obviously this is kind of a world map and it's not to scale or anything like that, but it is circular, so I think it'll fit in there pretty well. I cut out my stickers on the Cricut like I always do, and now it's time to throw this on some wood and cut it out. There's some good negative space in here, right? You've got Antarctica down at the bottom if you're not familiar with a world or globe or whatever. Yeah, there's not a whole lot at the top. I think it's just mostly ice, so there's no land masses, unfortunately. So we're just gonna have to, you know, once I put this together, you'll see what I mean. There's not like a circular outline to it, but your brain realizes everything's distorted in a circle and kind of fills in the blanks for you. I think I'm just gonna cut this all out of walnut. I think it'd be a good contrast with this flame birch frame, and I've got plenty of it in plenty of different sizes and also plenty of different grain patterns. So yeah, I think I'm just gonna go grab a stack of walnut, mix and match, and then we'll shoot over the scroll saw and cut this thing out. It's a little intricate, but it shouldn't be too bad. I'm pretty excited about this. So a few different choices here. A lot of figure in these guys, and then obviously a dark and a light. Let me zoom you in so you can really see what I'm doing here. I thought it would be kind of cool, you know, some of these regions are drier, obviously, than others. You know, some of these I'll take liberty and make them a little bit lighter, and then the rest I'll just kind of see what happens with the grain patterns and where they fit best and go from there. All right guys, that's it for this one. Thanks again for hanging out with me. I know we had a little catching up to do. It's a longer video, but I hope you enjoy it. If you like the longer format stuff, leave me a comment and I'm happy to make more of it. More of a vlog than anything. Still think it's some valuable content, so we'll see you next time. Bye.